Well, big show coming up. CJ and the 36ers are no longer.
But Will Magnay and Tassie are flying. And what about Bryce Cotton's wife, MVP?
So too is Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs. Let's get into it.
This is The Basketball Show with Shane the Hammer Heel. What they gonna say next?
It is that time of the week again. Joe and Hammer back with you for The Basketball Show, all thanks to Code Sports, Boost Mobile and the Throwback Store. Hammer, it's been a big week in hoops.
Bigger than you know, Joe. This is a big week.
Yep, no, looking forward to it. Our rundown is looking particularly juicy today, so let's get into it. Let's begin with the big news of the week. The 36ers have parted ways with coach CJ Bruton. Matty Logue on the desk to talk us through it. First of all, how did it come about?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, Joe. I guess his record, CJ's record, is 24 and 40 since 2022. It's not good enough. So the club were in a position where they had to make a decision and say, well, is he the man moving forward? No. And they've decided that Nin's a local guy. He's been part of a lot of success as a player, and he understands Adelaide. I think the owners at the 36ers are happy about that. They're happy to have a local involved as head coach, and they believe that there's already positive feedback around that. But for CJ, my understanding is results, that's number one. It's a business, and he didn't get the results. The second bit is that they were not happy with some of his decisions around recruiting. They were not happy with the way, with some of his coaching. But I will say this, that behind the scenes there were conflicting factors of owners / even assistants who were making decisions. And I don't know that CJ was strong enough. He's a really nice bloke. He's a legend of the game. But as a head coach, sometimes you have a bit of mongrel in you, is probably the best word to describe it. And I don't know that he had enough of that to stand up and go, well, I'm the head coach, this is my decision. Because the roster was not all his. There were factors within Adelaide 36ers that recruited other players this year, for example, that were not CJ. So I don't think he's completely at fault. But geez, at this point, he didn't help himself. Is the consensus I'm getting from phone calls to multiple people within the organisation.
Mate, since Joey Wright left, it seems like they've been a basket case. They've gone in a whole lot of different directions. It was all Jeff Van Groningen coming in, and it's all his direction. They go with another coach, and then they get rid of him, and CJ comes in. Mate, they're all over the place. What's their plan moving forward? Have they spoken about that? Yeah, well,
in the immediate, my understanding is that they want DJ Vasiljevic as a long-term player there. But they're not happy with the form of the likes of McCarron, Sunday Detch, etc. There's players within the team that they're not happy with. We can also reveal that 4 weeks into the pre-season, there were moves not just from CJ, but moves to change the offense around Trey Kell and Franklin. They get to the blitz, they send Franklin packing. There's also the Flowers situation where they promised that he'd be a point guard, and it was pretty clear at the blitz that he's not a point guard. To their credit, they changed that pretty quickly. But it wasn't just only CJ making these decisions. My understanding, and I've been told that the players, they went from 4 weeks into the preseason, let's shift it. Franklin's then gone, and then we're heading into the season, and they got 0-4, and the players felt like they had to start fresh again. They were just like, what's our identity? And I think that flowed onto the court. So it's at this point, it's multi-layered. I think CJ will put his hand up, and if you have honest chat with CJ, I think he would say, there's decisions that I made, or probably wasn't as strong as I needed to be. And that's not a slight against his character. He's one of the rippers, but I just think that's just coaching sometimes. But I do believe there were people within the franchise that were undermining him.
The 36ers have obviously been in the news quite a lot this week because of the scheduling issues. They made their thoughts very clear on that. Yeah. How does this affect the timing with CJ as well?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Joe, because there's been a lot of negative commentary around that, guys. They came out last Thursday preempting that this was going to be a bit of a nightmare trip. But I'm told that CJ and others were told by higher up to push that narrative. So, that's hard on CJ if we're going to be critical of him saying, well, culturally that's not a good example to set. But if he's told to say that, then that makes it, does make it hard. don't get me wrong, guys. Like, and Joe makes a good point. Like, it doesn't look good. Like, it wasn't ideal, the situation, but it's like in any sport, you just got to lock in and you got to just go, okay, this is not ideal, but if we whinge about it and we complain about it, it's not helping anyone. Like it, and as you know, Tassie were fresh and they're terrific. I think, as Shane says, I think they can win it, but I'm just not sure around Adelaide in general. I think they are a mess, and there's too many conflicting parties. And regardless of whether CJ got the results or not, I still think there's issues in the front office. There's issues in the direction. There's issues in people making decisions, and then, well, he's the head coach. How would he not feel undermined by that? Like, it's a tough situation, yeah.
Does CJ still have a future coaching the game, Hammer?
I think it'll be tough as a head coach, but CJ is a great bloke, and he's got a terrific history in our game of success and being a good person. I think he would be a great ally and for another head coach, and I think he can coach in the league as long as he wants and have a real positive impact for another team.
Yes, this is our starting five. Let's get into some NBA power rankings because the Orlando Magic are absolutely flying at the moment. They had 9 wins in a row. Jamal Mosley named the Eastern Conference Coach of the Month. They are second in the East.
Well, that's what happens when you got an ex-NBL importers coach. Mm-hmm. And our man Joey's there as well.
And isn't it nice to see him having more minutes and having a really positive impact?
He certainly is, and that doesn't include the positive impact he'd be having on the locker room as well, because he knows when to be serious, but he also knows when to have a good joke, and there'd be a lot of that there too.
Did you see it? It looks like they're playing some really inspired basketball and they're really enjoying what they're doing. Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs recreated the iconic LeBron James and D-Wade dunk. Did you see this?
I did not see it.
This is what, just please watch this. I love that you're seeing it for the first time. How good is that? And they absolutely go and just rile up the crowd. They are lapping it up. It's so good to see.
You love that stuff.
I do love that stuff. But I mean, I'll admit, at the start of the season, Orlando is not a team that I was particularly excited to watch.
How far can they go, Jojo? How far can they go?
This season?
Yeah.
Play in at a push, probably.
Yeah.
But that's not the
good story.
That's not the point. They're a young team, minus Joe, of course. But they're building. They're building, and they're exciting to watch. And you know, the city are getting behind it. The fans are excited, and that's what we like to see. It
adds to the NBA. We like it.
Exactly. A couple of the stars of the NBA, Nikola and Luka Doncic. We speak about them a lot, it feels like. But you must have seen the stat line in the week. Nikola Jokic with the most points, most rebounds, and most assists of any player in the league this season. That is ridiculous.
We would never have seen that before, surely. Like, that's incredible.
I don't know, but...
To think that there's a big guy that's averaging more assists than any other guard in the league, whilst he's putting up those numbers and the rebounds. I mean, it's incredible. And the consistency, game after game, he just keeps bringing it. And with Jamal Murray out as well, he just keeps finding a way to be able to deliver. He's a freak.
Well, then Luka goes and drops 36, 15 and 18 just a couple of days ago, which is also wild. I had Luka as my MVP favourite to start the season with a little asterisk next to it based on...
Do you have a little something on him?
No, I didn't actually. Sure. But the concern with Luka getting it is Dallas's success.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about Jokic. I think Jokic, he's the one.
Nikola, looking at his stats, he's having a better season than his MVP season.
Yeah. I mean, he's a freak. He is the MVP as it stands right now. Yeah,
no, I agree with you. Speaking of stats, Duop Reith has set the record for the most threes by a centre in their first 10 games, and he's on a 2-way contract.
It's incredible, really.
I love it.
I mean, what it does is that you scratch your head at all of the other teams around the league to say, yeah, he's shown that he could do this. Now a team's giving him an opportunity, and if he continues, he's going to get paid and turn that 2-way into something serious. And what an effort for him.
Well, he's currently playing within their 9-man rotation.
No doubt, and so he should be. When you're shooting the ball at that sort of clip, he's a whole lot of energy coming off the bench, and he's been consistent in being able to do it. We saw him do it in the first few games. You're like, oh, how long can this last?
Yeah.
And he's just kept doing it. He's playing himself in a really good deal.
Never been afraid to shoot the ball, that man. A little closer to home, the Cairns Taipans went 1 for 1 in the last round.
Bad loss, great win.
Yes. A particularly good win over the top of the table, Melbourne United as well. Josh Roberts, we've not seen much of him this season, but he played 26 minutes, had 22 points. Before that, he hadn't played more than 9. He took his opportunity with both hands.
Yeah, but I was listening to the game and listening to the commentators saying a master stroke from Coach Adam Ford. But where's he been? Why hasn't he been playing these sort of minutes? I thought he was exceptional. And he was very different to Wardenberg and Meninga. And just because he had that athleticism and he was active, he was rebounding, he was all over the place, and he was in the right spots to be able to finish around the basket, which is very different than the other two players. So I just don't know how you can go that long, and particularly with the injury problems that they've had, and not get the opportunities as an import.
We don't know what happens behind closed doors. I imagine it's something to do with his performances in training. From all reports, he's a good team guy. He's up and about when he's on the bench.
Don't just do that. You don't just pull that out.
Well, what will be interesting now is to see how he's used moving forward.
He's got to play based on what he's been able to do, and that is a great win. Great win against the leading Melbourne United, because they've been the best defensive team in the league, and Cairns just go bang with 115 points.
Yeah, well, turnovers for Cairns have been an issue, but I think they had 9 as a team in that game. The only thing, another asterisk, is that they shot 56% from the 3-point line.
And
I can't see that happening on the weekly.
No.
But love when Cairns are playing well. Yeah, it's exciting to see. The Perth Wildcats, a big win over the Sydney Kings. Bit of a grudge match. Always love that one. Bryce Cotton.
No. Don't worry about Bryce right now. There is a new MVP favourite.
Oh, talk to me.
Bryce's wife. The stats before Bryce's wife came out and said about the system and everything else, and John Riley, he was averaging like 14 points a game at a poor percentage. Things have changed a little bit, and John listened up, did a good job, John Riley, of being able to make the necessary adjustments after they lost 5 in a row or whatever. Now Bryce is getting usage. Now they've got some role players to be able to complement him. They're no longer that all-star team. They're actually a really well-balanced team with the best player in the league getting the usage that we've seen in past years, and he delivers because he's the best player in the league. So well done to Bryce Cotton's wife. I thought it was a bit disrespectful when she did it, but she got the result.
I love that.
That's an assist to her husband. It is.
Hockey assist.
Yep.
The Tasmania Jack Jumpers are also flying. They're up in second. They had the biggest win of their short career, also handing the 36ers the worst loss of the season so far. We've obviously spoken a lot about that already. But they've been super impressive though, Tassie.
They had the bye this week. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say a healthy Will Magnay is the best centre in the competition. And maybe there's some recency bias because I watched JLA and he was minus 30 while he was on the court on the weekend. He was terrible on the weekend. To me, and we know he's a good player. He's a quality player. But Will Magnay at his best, and I feel like he's just on the way to getting healthy. I touch wood as I say it because he's had problems in the past stringing games together. But his size and ability to be able to protect the basket, his pick and roll defense, when he steps out, he can hit shots and finish around. He's the perfect fit for them. And I said earlier in the season I didn't think they could win a championship. With a healthy Will Magnay, they're right in the race.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, he wasn't there at the start, and they were missing that. Lee has actually played pretty well, in tandem with Magnay. They're legitimate. They have a chance with Magnay healthy.
Okay. Before we keep moving, shout out to Milton Doyle as well. His father passed away a few days ago, but he, from reports, found out only just on game day. Pulled himself together. That must have been really tough. So just thoughts are with Milton and the family because it can't be easy.
Big effort, a lot of character, and our thoughts are with him and his family.
All
right. 5. Set up in the post. To the basket and slams it down.
Love this. Lockie Ulbrich is kicking off our Boost Mobile Hoops highlights.
4.
Halliburton trapped off Bailey's 3, and he puts it in! And a chance at 4!
Tyrese Halliburton is balling right now. A 9-0 run to end this game. What?
And a little 4-point play if you don't mind.
The Pacers are on their way to Vegas.
3.
Now I've got to set this one up because Vermont were out of this game with 10 seconds to go.
He puts it in! Oh! And they called a foul.
And then that happened.
And then the freebie.
He made it! Strike the post!
2.
Hey, we don't know who's going to step up because they're top scorer in clutch time.
What? Shaden Sharp for the Blazers. That is actually ridiculous.
That is poster time.
He gets some serious air there.
Great athleticism. Walker's still coming over, so his timing's a little bit off. Love the fact that he goes up with both.
1.
So good. We are seeing this one again. I love this.
He's got Anthony Cole with the one-hand.
I love the dunk. You love the celebration.
I love both. I love that it's recreating one of the moments in NBA history. D-Wade and LeBron.
Throw that up. Let his backcourt mate.
Those are your Hoops highlights this week, all thanks to Boost Mobile.
Way above the rim. We see you, Cole.
Yes, Matty Logue back with a bit more news to get through. Matt Shack's son, Sharif O'Neal, potentially coming down under to play.
It shocked me when I got the heads up. But basically, Sharif's agents have reached out to the Diamond Valley Eagles in the NBL 1 in Melbourne and said there's interest in coming to Australia to play in the NBL 1 as a pathway to the NBL. He was waived by the G League Ignite. Recently hasn't played basketball for a while. He knows where he's at in his career, and he sees this as a potential opportunity to grow.
Interesting one. Good on him. It's not that he needs the money or anything like that, but chasing his dream. Bit of pressure with that last name as well. So
Just quietly.
yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Let's talk about Southeast Melbourne. Bad news for Craig Muller, obviously out for the rest of the season with that injury. So
Terrible.
Tough for him. Yeah, exactly. But there are reports natters flying around that Ryan Brokoff could be back out of retirement.
Yeah, well, I can confirm the Phoenix made a call to Rowdy. He would have loved to have played, but he said, "Look, politely, I've got some things going on, and I can't do it." He's got the competitive juices going though, and he definitely wants to, at some point, to play again. But at this point, it just didn't fit. So it begs a question: what do the Phoenix do?
What do they do?
What do they do?
Well, why wouldn't they keep Daniel Johnson? What's the?
Well, he
is
can,
there a
minus-
rule stopping him from being able to play? I'm not sure about that.
My understanding, all I was told from the Phoenix is that he can be used as an injury replacement, but the Phoenix want to chase a bigger name.
Bigger than DJ?
Yep.
Mate,
They want to chase some.
Is there a better player currently not playing in the league than Daniel Johnson?
Who's a local, obviously.
Yeah, he's a local. They can only replace him with a local.
That's just what I've been told. And he can
That
be used as an
surprises
injury
me.
replacement, though. So he could bob up. But at this point, I was told that they're making calls with the potential to get someone else.
Well, thank you guys for watching as always, and thanks to our sponsors, Code Sports, Boost Mobile and the Throwback Store. Great to have them on board as we go along this season. Are you looking forward to anything in particular this week?
I want to see the Kings this weekend. Up north against Cairns, back against Southeast Melbourne. We're going to learn a lot about all three of those teams, I think.
No, should be good. I'm at that one on Sunday, so can't wait for it. Thank you guys again for watching. We'll catch you next week.
This is a co-production by News Corp Australia and Closer Sports.